On a Sunday morning, Nancy Thompson emerged gracefully from her stately white colonial home in Tampa's upscale Davis Islands neighborhood. Her emerald green maternity dress sparkled in the Florida sunlight. Despite being 8 months pregnant, she moved with remarkable lightness as she headed to First Presbyterian Church of Tampa with her husband Robert. "Good morning, Nancy. Not long now. How are the baby preparations coming along?" Friends greeted her warmly in front of the church. This was her first pregnancy in 7 years of marriage, a precious life finally conceived after years of fertility treatments. "Yes, it still feels like a dream that our family will be growing soon," Nancy smiled, gently placing her hand on her belly. Beside her, Robert beamed with pride. As a senior manager at a real estate development company, he had contributed to Tampa's economic growth and was a trusted figure in the church community. During Sunday service, the pastor offered a special prayer. As the congregation responded with warm amens to the words, "Lord, please protect this new life," Nancy's heart overflowed with gratitude. Though she maintained her cool judgment as an insurance risk analyst by profession, at this moment she couldn't hold back her emotions. After the service, the couple enjoyed lunch at Burns Steakhouse. A list of birth preparations lay spread out on the table. Over the chef's special beef tenderloin, Robert unusually kept work talk to a minimum, focusing instead on the upcoming birth. "The birth plan is perfect. Dr. Sullivan has given us her full approval that everything's progressing well. I trust you completely. You're going to be a wonderful mother." Robert spoke softly, reaching across the table to hold Nancy's hand. His gesture brought tears to her eyes. In the afternoon, they enjoyed some final shopping at International Plaza. At the baby store, Robert carefully examined each stuffed animal, seriously considering which would be the best. "How about this white rabbit? It could be the baby's first friend." That evening, Nancy sat alone in the bedroom looking through an album. Photos from hospital visits during fertility treatments, flowers Robert had given her after each egg retrieval, and the positive pregnancy test she'd waited so long for, all had become precious memories. In particular, the photo from the day they confirmed their first pregnancy showed them both crying with joy. The following weekend, Nancy's mother Elizabeth came to check on them. The aroma of homemade apple pie filled the house. "Nancy, your nursery is absolutely lovely." The clean, white-based space was accented with gentle pastel colors. A mobile swayed gently in the breeze from the ceiling, while hand-painted animals smiled sweetly from the walls. Robert took time off to help prepare everything. He even painted the murals himself. "That boy will surely be a wonderful father. I can feel your love for each other filling this room." Elizabeth's words gave Nancy a profound sense of happiness. With 3 weeks until her delivery at Tampa General Hospital, preparations for welcoming their new life were steadily progressing. At dusk, Nancy stepped into her backyard. The sea breeze from St. Pete Beach gently caressed her cheeks. The bougainvillea in the garden was in full bloom, its vibrant pink colors enhanced by the setting sun. That night, lying in bed, Nancy said a silent prayer. "Dear Lord, please let this child grow up healthy. And please let these happy days continue. Outside the window, Florida's night breeze seemed to softly bless the new life about to begin. Feeling the small life's movements within her, Nancy drifted into peaceful sleep. One April morning, Nancy woke to sudden intense contractions. The clock showed 3:15 a.m. Through the bedroom window, Tampa's skyline was still dark. She woke Robert, who had been dozing by the bedside, and grabbed her pre-packed hospital bag. "Are you all right? Should we head to the hospital?" "Yes, I think so." While tracking her contractions, Nancy calmly assessed the situation. Perhaps due to her profession as a risk analyst, she could make clear judgments even in emergencies. The streets of Davis Islands were silent in the dead of night. Robert's black Mercedes glided past the bougainvillea hedges, heading toward Tampa General Hospital. On the way, Nancy called her mother Elizabeth. "Mom, the contractions have started. I'll be right there. Don't worry." At the hospital, Dr. Sullivan was already waiting. She had supported Nancy through 7 years of fertility treatments. "You've done well, Nancy. It looks like it's time to meet your baby." The delivery room was a spacious private suite specially prepared for the birth. Through the large windows, Tampa Bay was visible in the pre-dawn light. A crucifix hung on the wall, beneath which fresh white lilies were arranged. Contractions are 4 minutes apart. Cervical dilation is progressing normally. Jane, the midwife, explained the situation in professional terms, her voice carrying the confidence of years of experience. At 6 a.m., Elizabeth arrived, carrying a bundle of prayer cards from their church friends. "Everyone at First Presbyterian is praying for you." Nancy's eyes welled up at her mother's words. Though the contractions grew stronger, the support around her helped ease the pain. "Keep your breathing steady." "Yes, you're doing very well." Time passed as Nancy followed Dr. Sullivan's instructions. Outside the window, the sunrise began painting Tampa Bay in golden hues. "Nancy, you'll be fine. We're here with you." Elizabeth held her daughter's hand, offering words of encouragement. Robert silently rubbed his wife's back, his hands betraying slight tension. After 9 a.m., the contractions became more frequent. "Nancy, it's time to move to the delivery room." Dr. Sullivan's voice brought focus to the room. The delivery room was a sterile space equipped with the latest medical technology. Soft lighting designed for relaxation illuminated the ceiling, while monitors on the wall tracked the baby's heartbeat. "You'll meet your baby soon. Keep going." Elizabeth had to wait outside the delivery room. Inside, Dr. Sullivan led a team of 4 medical staff who began moving efficiently. "Take deep breaths. I can see the baby's head." Despite the intense pain with each contraction, Nancy remained fully conscious. After 7 years of waiting, even this pain felt precious. "One more push. You can do it." Dr. Sullivan's voice rang out. In that moment, the baby's first cry filled the delivery room. "Congratulations. It's a healthy baby boy." Dr. Sullivan gently cleaned the baby and placed him on Nancy's chest. The warmth of this tiny life enveloped her whole body in happiness. Nancy gazed at her child through tears. The baby, as if already recognizing his mother's voice, had stopped crying and showed a peaceful expression. That's when it happened. We need a DNA test. A cold voice suddenly cut through the air. Robert was staring at the baby with an icy gaze. I need to confirm if this is definitely my child. The atmosphere in the delivery room froze. Nancy held her baby tightly while looking up at her husband. Her eyes reflected disbelief at this incomprehensible reality, shining with overflowing tears. What do you mean? Nancy's voice trembled as she asked, but Robert's expression remained cold. Elizabeth, who had been waiting outside the delivery room, noticed something was wrong and came in. When she grasped the situation, her expression changed completely. Have you lost your mind? Are you trying to insult my daughter and grandchild? Elizabeth's angry voice echoed through the room. Dr. Sullivan, sensing the situation, immediately gave instructions to her staff. Mr. Thompson, we can discuss this matter later. Right now, the mother and baby's rest is our priority. Robert didn't respond. However, his expression showed no regret. Rather, his eyes held a calculating look, as if confirming a plan he was about to execute. Nancy silently continued gazing at her baby, who slept peacefully against her chest, as if completely removed from the ugly events unfolding in this world. Elizabeth sat beside Nancy, holding her daughter's shoulders firmly. It's okay. I'm here with you. 3 days after the birth, Dr. Sullivan sat in her office, staring at the DNA test results. In her 30-plus years as an obstetrician, she had never encountered such a perplexing situation. This is strange. She frowned, rechecking the test data displayed on her monitor. The data showed clear abnormalities. The threshold values between positive and negative results were completely different from the normal range. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Nancy Thompson opened the door. Though showing signs of postpartum fatigue, her demeanor as she held her baby radiated unmistakable maternal love. Dr. Sullivan, the results. Her voice trembled slightly. Behind Nancy stood her mother Elizabeth. Dr. Sullivan guided them to a sofa in the corner of her office, furthest from the windows. The walls were adorned with numerous awards telling the story of her career, next to which hung photos of babies whose births she had attended, evidence of her involvement in over 3,000 new lives over 30 years. There are unnatural aspects to these results. Dr. Sullivan carefully chose her words as she began her explanation. Doctor, I absolutely. Nancy, I've been your doctor for 7 years. I know your integrity better than anyone. The doctor's voice carried unwavering trust. Elizabeth silently squeezed her daughter's hand. Actually, something has been bothering me since last night. Dr. Sullivan stood up and began walking around her office. Through the window, a cruise ship could be seen docked in Tampa Bay. Beyond it, the Florida sun shone brightly. The lab technician reported some suspicious findings. Unusual access logs were found in the laboratory system. She returned to her desk and showed them the computer screen. "Look here. This is the pattern of normal test data." The screen displayed comparison graphs with past test results. "And this is the current result. There's clearly an unnatural bias." The graph's abnormality was obvious even without medical expertise. But why? In response to Nancy's question, Dr. Sullivan let out a deep sigh. "I asked the system administrator to investigate thoroughly." She typed on her keyboard, opening a new screen. "Last night, there was external access to the laboratory system. And immediately after that, parts of the data were altered." A heavy silence fell over the office. The baby was sleeping peacefully in his mother's arms. "There's more that concerns me." Dr. Sullivan pulled a document from her desk drawer. "This is from the hospital's security cameras. Last night, a suspicious person was seen near the laboratory. Though the security camera image was unclear, it showed a tall man in a suit, a familiar silhouette." Elizabeth gasped. "It looks very similar to Robert." Dr. Sullivan's voice maintained its composure but carried a hint of anger. "But that's not all." She scrolled the screen further. "Mike Johnson, our lab technician, made an interesting statement this morning. A few days ago, someone approached him offering $500,000 in cash to falsify the test data." The color drained from Nancy's face. Mike refused the offer and immediately reported it to his supervisor. However, he started receiving anonymous threatening emails afterward. Dr. Sullivan walked to the window. Looking down at Tampa's cityscape, she strengthened her resolve. "This is clearly criminal. Falsifying medical records is a serious offense. We cannot overlook this." She turned to face them. "We should call the police. Clear fraud has been committed." At that moment, Nancy's phone rang. A message from Robert appeared on the screen. "Let me know as soon as the DNA test results are out." Elizabeth, holding her daughter's shoulders, nodded to Dr. Sullivan. "Please. Call the police." Dr. Sullivan picked up the hospital's internal phone. Her hand holding the receiver was supported by the firm resolve built over 30 years of her career. Outside the window, Tampa was bustling with life. The Riverwalk crowded with tourists, modern office buildings, and the calm bay beyond. In this peaceful scene, events that would change one family's life were quietly but surely unfolding. Dr. Sullivan put down the phone and turned to Nancy. "Your baby is undoubtedly yours and Robert's child. To prove this, we must reveal the truth." Her voice carried both professional pride and personal sense of justice. "The truth will always come to light." Those words echoed quietly in the morning office. As they waited for the Tampa police to arrive, the three women held in their hearts the resolve for the battle that was about to begin. In the interrogation room at Tampa Police Headquarters, Detective Laura Martinez sat across a stainless steel table from Robert. A large mirror was mounted on the wall, behind which Dr. Sullivan watched from the observation room. "Let me confirm again. Where were you between 11:15 p.m. and 11:45 p.m. last night?" Laura's voice maintained the composure developed over 15 years of experience. I was at home. Robert answered while casually adjusting the collar of his expensive suit. His gesture exuded the confidence of a senior manager. Laura pulled out a photograph. It showed a figure captured by the hospital's security camera. This angle clearly showed Robert's characteristics. Isn't this you? Robert's expression tensed for a moment. But he quickly composed himself. It just looks similar. That's not me. Then how do you explain this? She now showed the witness statement from lab technician Mike Johnson. Offered $500,000 in cash to falsify DNA test results. The statement detailed specific dates, locations, and conversation content. Mr. Johnson clearly identifies you. Robert's lips trembled slightly. His testimony is credible. Laura continued, presenting email records. Multiple threatening emails were sent to Mr. Johnson from your company's IP address. The atmosphere in the interrogation room grew heavy. Furthermore, the unauthorized access to the hospital's security system could only have happened with the cooperation of your IT specialist subordinate. The composure disappeared from Robert's expression. I exercise my right to remain silent. I want my lawyer. Before that, one more thing. Laura produced her final piece of evidence. Bank transaction records. Last week, you transferred $5 million to an overseas account. Were you hiding assets in preparation for divorce? At that moment, Robert's attitude changed completely. Why did you try to falsify the DNA test results? Under Laura's questioning, Robert finally opened up. To frame Nancy for adultery. His voice showed no trace of regret now. If the DNA test showed it wasn't my child, it would prove Nancy had been with another man. I wouldn't have to pay alimony in the divorce. I could start a new life with Jennifer. Jennifer? Yes, my secretary. Young and beautiful. Nothing like Nancy. Robert's tone was surprisingly cold. So you tried to frame your innocent wife for adultery by falsifying the results. That's right. I couldn't let Nancy take my assets if I was going to live with my mistress Jennifer. In the observation room, Dr. Sullivan could barely contain her anger as she listened to this exchange. Next to her sat the Tampa General Hospital's legal counsel. This is criminal. Attempted medical record falsification, threats, attempted fraud. We can certainly pursue substantial civil damages as well. The lawyer nodded while taking notes. In the interrogation room, Robert's confession continued. I don't care about Nancy anymore. 7 years of fertility treatments. I just went along with it. Jennifer could give me a child right away. Laura's eyes flashed sharply at those words. Mr. Thompson. Are you saying your love for your wife and your newborn child were all lies? Robert sneered as he replied. Business requires no emotion. Marriage is just business. At that moment, footsteps were heard in the hallway. The door opened, and a young woman appeared. Jennifer! Robert exclaimed in surprise. Jennifer looked straight at Robert. "I told the police everything. How you instructed me to contact Mike Johnson. How you planned the data falsification. Everything." "What? Let's end this, Robert. I cannot be part of framing an innocent person." Jennifer's voice carried firm resolve. "The DNA test results have already been verified," Laura quietly announced. "The baby is undoubtedly your biological child. You tried to deny even your own flesh and blood." The color drained from Robert's face. "Robert Thompson, you are under arrest." Laura stood up and began the arrest procedure. In the observation room, Dr. Sullivan let out a deep sigh. Now Nancy and the baby's honor has been protected. In the hallway, media was already gathering. The arrest of a senior manager from Tampa's prominent real estate development company would undoubtedly become major news. However, Dr. Sullivan's concern lay elsewhere. "I pray that Nancy and the baby's emotional wounds will heal, even if just a little." Through the Tampa Police Headquarters windows, the sun could be seen setting over St. Petersburg. It seemed to signal both the end of one family's story and the beginning of a new one. In the spring of 2026, 2-year-old Matthew Thompson runs around the garden in the quiet residential area of Davis Islands. Nancy watches over him tenderly from a rocking chair on the veranda. "Matthew, it's snack time." At Nancy's call, Matthew responds with a bright smile. His eyes shine with unprecedented brilliance. The events of 2 years ago certainly left deep scars. However, mother and son have now begun walking a new path in life. At First Presbyterian Church of Tampa, Nancy has taken on a central role in the parenting support group that meets after Sunday services. Her experience serves as inspiration for women in similar situations. God never gives us trials we cannot overcome. Nancy's words in the support group carry deep conviction. People from all around Tampa come to hear her story. Her professional life is also fulfilling. Her analytical skills at the insurance company have become even sharper, and her proposals for family-related insurance products, drawing from her experience, are highly valued. Your proposals show a real understanding of the risks modern families face. These words from her supervisor gave Nancy genuine confidence. Elizabeth comes to see Matthew every weekend. Watching her grandson grow has become her greatest joy. "Mom, look." Matthew learned another new word. The bond between mother and daughter has grown even stronger since that incident. Dr. Sullivan still regularly checks on Nancy and her son. Her reputation at Tampa General Hospital has grown even more as a doctor who stood firm for justice. The hospital's security system has been significantly enhanced, and their medical record protection system has become one of the best in the nation. That decision back then was the right one. She remains convinced of this. Meanwhile, Robert's end was pitiful. He received a 2-year prison sentence for attempted medical record falsification, intimidation, and other charges, serving his time in a Tampa, Florida prison. His real estate development license was revoked, and he was immediately fired from his company. Ironically, his mistress Jennifer disappeared right after the incident. Rumors later circulated that she had started a new life at a startup in Miami. "I failed to see that man's true nature," Jennifer said in a local newspaper interview. "But I'm glad I made the right choice in the end. I couldn't be part of ruining Nancy and Matthew's lives." Her testimony played a crucial role in the trial. In prison, Robert showed no signs of rehabilitation. No one came to visit him, and he spent his time in solitary confinement. Even his former colleagues began denying any association with him. "I want nothing to do with someone who would commit such a despicable act." His reputation in Tampa's real estate industry was destroyed, making any comeback virtually impossible. Detective Laura has begun using this case as "the dark side of modern families" in her lectures at the police academy. "I want to teach young police officers about the foolishness of betraying family for money and desire." Her lectures have left a strong impression on many aspiring police officers. The city of Tampa learned much from that incident. The importance of family bonds, medical ethics, and justice became deeply ingrained in the hearts of the city's people. The church community continues to warmly support Nancy and Matthew. Every Sunday after service, smiles abound as people gather around Matthew. "This child is God's greatest gift," Nancy says. Her words carry deep love and gratitude. The shocking events of 2 years ago were certainly a great trial. However, overcoming them has made Nancy an even stronger and more gentle mother. Matthew grows up healthy, surrounded by his mother's love. He doesn't yet know about the events that occurred at the beginning of his life. But his innocent smile continues to heal the hearts of the adults around him. Justice always prevails. Elizabeth's words carry convincing weight. Like the sunlight shining down on Tampa, a bright future awaits this mother and son. The spring breeze gently sways the street trees in Davis Islands. In the dappled sunlight, Matthew runs around innocently. Nancy watches him, quietly savoring her happiness. Their new life had already taken its first steady steps forward.